Hi, everyone. Kitty, host of Melody or Witchcraft here. I need to let you know that there are a couple of moments of explicit language in the episode that you have queued up. And there is also a reference to a slur for gay people. Thanks for rating the show, commenting wherever you listen.
I'm nobody. Who are you? Are you nobody too? Then there's a pair of...
Hello, creative people. Thanks for tuning into Melody or Witchcraft. I'm your host, Kathryn Petruccelli. On the podcast, we hear a poet read a work of their own and an Emily Dickinson poem of their choosing that contributed to their work. We discuss poetry, Dickinson, the fluidity of time, and the scope and sources of creative inspiration. The past is such a curious creature, Dickinson wrote. Join us to find out how it can teach us about our now.
Advertise, you know how dreary.
One need not be a chamber to be haunted. One need not be a house. The brain has corridors surpassing material place. Far safer of a midnight meeting, external ghost, than an interior confronting that cooler host. Far safer through an abbey gallop, the stones a chase, than moonless, one's a self-encounter in lonesome place. Ourself behind ourself, concealed, should startle most. Assassin, hid in our apartment, be horror's least. The prudent carries a revolver, he bolts the door, overlooking a superior specter more near.
That was James Allen Hall reading Emily Dickinson. James Allen Hall is the author of 2 books of poetry and a book of lyric memoir, most recently, Romantic Comedy from 4-Way Books. With the poet Aaron Smith, they co-host Breaking Form, a poetry and culture podcast. Hi, James. Welcome. I have been so looking forward to our conversation.
Me too, Kathryn. It's so lovely to see you.
I often ask guests, who is their Emily? And I'm wondering, is this yours? The one who's sort of interested in the interior psyche, the haunted one?
Yeah, this is my Emily. This is the one who broke open the rest of Emily Dickinson as well as my own poems. This is the queer Emily who doesn't insist on one self, right? There's so many selves in that room at the end, and it's also funny too because of the variations this poem has.
Yeah.
I read this poem. This is like the poem that's online on the Academy of American Poets website, but it's not the one that I put in my head. You know what I mean? So whenever I read it,
I do.
like I'm like, oh wait, that's the wrong version.
Yeah, well, maybe we can share the other, because this is the Ralph Franklin version, which are usually the versions that, like you say, are online. But yeah, I have the Johnson version too, which personally I like a combination of the two.
Me too.
But,
yeah.
Yeah, so that final stanza in the Johnson collection is the body as opposed to the prudent. The body borrows a revolver, he bolts the door, or looking a superior specter, or more. Instead of
more chilling.
More near.
Yeah, instead of...
You think so? You think the or more is more chilling?
Oh, I absolutely do. There's so many more. Like, is there just one, overlooking specter, right? Is the specter, are we overlooking the specter, or is the specter above us in the room looking over us? And is there more than just the one, I think that's way more chilling. And I love the insistence on the body as opposed to the mind, which would not maybe choose to do this, Yeah, the prudent is very, it's a very Dickinson word, right? But I like
it's distant though.
It's distant and it has prude in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the body is like desire, your flesh, sin, maybe. Yeah, so I like all of those variations.
Right. Yeah, it's fun. It is fun to think about. I was just saying to someone else when I was touring at the Dickinson Museum, we would talk about the variants and all of this, and we would show an example of a poem that had many, many different considerations for lots of the words. And then I would get to the end and invariably somebody would be like, "Okay, but what was the final one?"
Oh.
And you're like, "Okay, I'm going to start again."
Yeah, right. I mean, I think many of our Dickinsons are the ones who, like the critic says, like chose not to choose. Said all of these at the same time. Why can't we just have all of the fluidity in that moment? Why can't we just like go down the wormhole and then come back, and you know what I mean, and carry all this multiplicity with us? And that's the Dickinson that I love the most, is the one that insists on multiplicity.
She seems so unafraid and fearless in what she's exploring in so much of her work. But she seems to, for sure, include herself in the ones here that are, ourself behind, ourself concealed. I guess we can't always tap into our highest self, even when we're Dickinson.
I guess it's like, what are the things we have to tell ourselves? What are the fictions that we have to make up about ourselves in order to, go outside the door and, chase down through the stones and the abbeys? Like, what is it to get out into the world? And what self do we have to sort of hide away a little bit in order to make that safe? Yeah. And then there's another variation earlier, I think she copied this twice, I think. And there's another variation, instead of like moonless, it's unarmed. And she chose to have moonless earlier in the poem, far safer through an abbey gallop, the stones a chase, than moonless or than unarmed, one's a self encounter. And I like moonless as the moon as a kind of armament. That kind of light that conceals and reveals at the same time.
Yeah, that's an amazing use of the moon, I suppose you could say.
Yeah. She's good at it, It's hard. It's hard. She raised the bar. Anyway.
So you mentioned that this poem kind of opened the door to your own writing?
Yeah.
Was that so?
I'm trying to remember. I was taking a Dickinson seminar with a teacher who I exasperated. I was not a very good student at the time. And the class was a terrific class. And I was just not a very good student. And she wanted to let me know that in order to encourage me to do better. Anyway, so I was also taking a queer theory class, which also insists on multiplicity and fluidity. And I was really trying to understand like how a poem makes hierarchies and how a poem can subvert those hierarchies at the same time. Like, do we have to have, one center, one story? Can there be an understory or a different narrator to come in and voice the poem? How many voices can be in a poem or can speak a poem before incoherence starts to reign,
Yeah.
or create chaos? How much chaos can we take as readers, as people who make art and appreciate art, right? So this poem, with all those selves at the end, I just imagine they're all in that room and it's kind of a party for one of them, and one of them's terrified and one's like, good, you're terrified. I'm glad. Now pour me a drink, just like this.
I never saw this poem as a party before, but now it's going to change everything.
It could be, right? Like there's just so much at the end there. There's so many selves there. And some of them are brave and some of them are fearful, but they're in the room and the world's out there, right? Yeah, and maybe they're not even aware of themselves. Some of them are maybe more aware of the selves that are in the room with them than others. I don't know.
Right, they're in there and the world's outside, but the world must be acting on some of those selves. I mean, obviously, for them to be who they are. We're not in a vacuum, even if we have rich interior lives, even if we're Emily Dickinson. The world seeps in there too.
Yeah, that moon, right,
Yeah.
will seep in, for
Yeah.
instance, right? That can't be stopped. And that's the armor. That's the armament. I don't know. I love thinking about this poem and its insistence on the interior life.
I had threatened you with questions about time
Yeah, I
before we
love it.
started. I am thinking about this in lots of different ways. So I'll just kind of parse out a couple pieces and then maybe we can go from there. So,
Mhm.
would you agree that we loved a timely poem,
Mm,
but ultimately we want the best poems to be timeless?
mm.
Can those two things coexist in a single poem? And then there's sort of these practical considerations. So, folks that are readers of poetry, if they're not writing and submitting poetry, they might not be aware of sometimes the really significant delays that can happen between when maybe you deem a poem ready to be seen by a reader and when that poem is actually in a reader's hands, whether you're submitting single poems or whether you're submitting a collection, right? It can be years, of course. So, thoughts?
Yeah, now you make me go back to the prudent versus the body, right? Because is the body dead? When you say the body, right? In a true crime poem like Emily Dickinson wrote, she invented the genre right here.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to start keeping a list of things my guests say that Emily invented. Yes. She invented a law of physics, according to Camille Dungy. Yes.
I love that. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, so time, that body, borrows or carries a revolver depending on which variant you look at. I like borrows because there's another body it must borrow it from. And so who's that self? Who's, selling arms to Emily Dickinson, Literally. Yeah, anyway, but the prudent is not time, right? Or someone who cares about carefulness. And so I don't know, like I like the idea that there's a dead body that comes, it's like a zombie poem. And that,
We're just going deeper and deeper
I
into it
know.
here.
I'm sorry that I keep doing this because that's just what Emily
That's
Dickinson wants you
okay.
to do, right? Just like get on the Ferris wheel of meaning and just turn around and then see how the landscape changes. So yeah, I think poems, I don't know if poems have time. I think they have memory. I think that the rhymes or the repetitions, the sense of line and line break, like create pattern where the poem remembers itself, right? Which kind of creates that closed system. And so, yeah, I mean, there's time out in the world. Gallop and a chase and borrows or carries, like these are all present tense verbs, right? So there's time and it's happening urgently and presently, but then you stop reading the poem and you carry on with your life. But like I don't know, I think of like you close the book, but in the book, inside, there are all these selves still locked in that room and they're still doing their thing. You know what I mean? In the present as well. So yeah, I guess it's like a multiverse. And I don't know enough physics to know anything about that at all. We'll have to call Camille. And I think she could tell us.
She probably could tell us.
Yeah. So I don't know, like, yeah, poems respond to something, right? Like it'd be interesting to know if the body in Dickinson's time meant a dead body or if it meant a live body. The way that, if we say, oh, they found a body now, we understand that is not a live body, right?
Right, right.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's true in 1862 when she first drafted this poem.
But then there are plenty of poems that talk about the body of the speaker or the body. And I'm thinking now too of Gabrielle Calvacaresi's references to the light body in their new collection. The light body, which is this amazing sort of framing of where one might want to be apart from, as Gabby likes to say, the vessel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. That carries the light. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there's several senses of time, I guess. I'm wrestling towards the idea that like, can one respond to one's times and do
Yeah.
that consciously? I don't know that you can,
And
really.
and does pop culture not count? Does yeah, because I was so suspicious, for example, we're still in lockdown and they were these calls for COVID folios and things like this.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, you just made a wincing face, and that was what my soul did too. When that happened, I saw those happening. I was like, that won't be me. I haven't processed this yet.
Right.
And
We still haven't processed it, frankly.
we
Yeah.
really, really haven't, right? Frankly, like, yes, it was, I mean, I have friends who died during the pandemic. They were horrible, awful, strange things that happened, but also for months I was inside. And I'll tell you what, like, I'm an inside cat. You open the door, I might peek out to see what's going on, but I'm going to come back right on in to my water dish and my food bowl, and I'm going to be a happy person, So
Yeah.
there was a pleasure for me of not having. I'm also slightly agoraphobic, maybe also why I like this poem.
Yeah. Well, she
And
was
I've
sort of
learned-
the poster child for COVID,
Yeah.
right? I think
Right.
that because COVID happened just on the heels of the Apple television series Dickinson, and there was just this kind of wave of new Dickinson interest, I guess.
Yes, yeah. Did you watch this? I didn't watch the show. I couldn't do it.
I did watch it. I felt like it was almost like a professional responsibility because I was guiding at the
Right.
museum, and
Yeah,
people would
right.
come in and they'd be like, "Ooh, is this real or is this from the show?" Yeah. So yes, I did
Yeah.
watch it.
Got it. Yeah.
And the museum has quite a relationship actually with the creator of that show.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and they have gifted many things from the set to the museum as well.
I read that. I thought that was really neat, actually. And I'm glad anything that brings people to poetry, and especially Emily Dickinson, like, I think that's wonderful. I just couldn't do it. I want this Dickinson and not that one, maybe. Or, I don't know, maybe next year I'll watch the whole thing. Because I've heard great things about it, too. And I have a friend who was part of a podcast about the show.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So are we talking about The Slave Is Gone?
Yes. Yeah.
Jericho Brown and
That's right.
Brianne Janae.
Yeah, that's right. I guess all you can do is just bring in the time that you're in and make the poem, try to capture that air a little bit and, like, seal it off the way that poems begin and end in silence. So it's like a little Ziploc bag closing. That's how I love to think about the closings of poems, is that, like, yellow and blue make green. It's sealed. Although there are poems I think that open the bag too.
Yeah, sure. Those are your tips now. Good night, everyone. Thank you. Thanks for coming. Yeah. But I'm so interested that you say that about trying to speak to your time, because you do have quite a few references, right? I mean, romantic comedy, and your poems speak to the pop culture world.
Oh, they do. Yeah. I mean, I have poems about movies, art, television shows. And you never know what's going to last. Who knows if that poem's going to last, right? But it helps you think through something important for you, in which case that it's a little lily pad for you to jump from and to, And if it's meaningful to somebody else, great. If it's not, who cares? You're Emily Dickinson.
Well, I would love to invite you to read your own poem that you brought.
Sure. I guess what I like to say about this poem is what I like to say. Well, first, that there are a few F slurs as we reference them, and references to sexual assault as well. And it's about being in college and being a history minor, I guess. Early English history was too early. 8 a.m., Tuesday, Thursday, Elizabeth Hall. I slouched, half asleep, first road, demarcated from the frat boys sitting in back so they could see up the professor's skirt. In the mead hall after, they surrounded, let me close if I shared my notes. I was in love with the black-haired outfielder, his backwards Braves cap, until he called me fag for refusing to rate our teacher's underwear. I didn't know how to fight back. I learned that semester about the rebel queen Boudica, whose revolt raised 3 Roman forts, and the emperor's temple. Tacitus provides motive. Her husband dead, kingdom annexed, Boudica flogged, her daughters raped. The armies she led tortured its captives, but he doesn't say why. Some pain is negligible. Its survival cancels the wound of its birth. Most accounts say she poisoned herself, facing defeat. Cassius Dio gives her longer, secreted away to the south, living unrecorded for years with her daughters. The boys in my class drew stick figures fucking on the wall by my room after I came out. I woke at night to wash out the crooked glyphs, the caption proclaiming, AIDS kills fags dead. I scrubbed until what remained was fist-sized, vague and pink, a map of the possible world. Our final project was to cook an authentic English banquet, eaten family style at the professor's house. At the appointed time in the year of our Lord, I came with dessert, but did not see the moat she'd installed in her foyer. The strawberry pudding flew like an arrow, pink spurting everywhere, especially across the faces of those boys whose names were lost the moment I joined an insurrection begun in AD 61 by a dissident queen. In the years since my disappearance, I have cemented my escarpments, foddered my cannon, sewn up my flag. I am painting my face, bluing my body with woad. Warn them, I am coming to punish my Romans.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
I love this poem, James.
Oh, thanks. When I wrote it, it was my new favorite poem. Do you ever have that happen where you're like, oh, I wrote something that was important to me?
Yeah. You know, I mean, if we look at components for just a minute, it does so many things that I adore in poems. I mean, we are at the very front, setting. We are so placed. That bleeding title, Early English History, was too early. 8 a.m., Tuesday, Thursday, Elizabeth Hall. I slouched, half asleep, first road, etc. And then, not quite halfway through, this very Dickinsonian move, this very bold opinion, very starkly stated, something that you have to go, let me read that 17 more times. Some pain is negligible. Its survival cancels the wound of its birth. And then by the end, the speaker is conflated with the character of the poem. And I'll just tell you, you are my favorite dissident queen.
Oh, thank you. Oh my God, that's the nicest thing anyone has ever said about me. Wow. That's all I ever want is to be a dissident queen, like Dickinson.
DQ where I think is where it's going to go from here.
Right.
But this conflation, which is just amazing. Yeah. I mean, before I ask things, do you want to tell us about the writing of this?
I don't think this poem would be possible without One Need Not Be a Chamber, because the disappearing of the self in the interior, I've always wondered about that, what it looks like from the outside, right? To be outside the room of that and knocking on the door, trying to get in the door and barring that door. And so, yeah, so for a moment, I think when I was writing this poem, I was just trying to describe, being in this history class with these boys, and who I conflate with other boys that wrote the AIDS, which they misspell, kills fags, which they misspelled, dead outside my wall. Those were different boys that were not in that class, but why not? Just put them together,
Absolutely.
Composite characters. So it was just really trying to get at that, and then putting AIDS onto me, right? They were seeing my body and wishing me a death from illness that they somehow understood might already be attached to my history just because I was a gay person after I came out. And so, yeah, then what happened to Boudica, Like, we learned in this history class, well, maybe this happened, but there's this alternate history. There's this alternate self behind the self. So why not? Let her stay hidden and safe and ready to raise more hell. Yeah, so that I think is what happened. And then I also I really did go to my teacher's house, and I really did make this strawberry pudding, and she really did have a moat in her foyer.
Bless her.
Bless her. And I really did trip, and this pudding really did fly, and all over everybody and her couch. I felt so terrible, but yeah. Anyway, we cleaned it up, and then we had mutton. It was the weirdest. It was the best and weirdest. I went to a small liberal arts college. I guess that's what the poem says about me. So.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it is just the best of the best, just in terms of storytelling, because it's stories within stories. I mean, the pacing, and like you've already referenced, the alternate history that lives there for this character we're introduced to, and then the new history that the speaker emerges into by the end of the poem. I mean, I'm not getting in the way of this one. Right?
Yeah,
warn them.
Me either.
I am coming to punish my Romans. I mean, that's some serious stuff. And just the return of the pink, because we have this beautiful, I scrubbed until what remained was fist-sized, vague and pink, a map of the possible world, which is a gorgeous opening point. And then we're right back there because the pink appropriately splashes into the face of these boys. Tell me, craft-wise, how you would advise someone who wants to move around in time in a poem. I mean, what I see in your poem, and you can feel free to correct me, is, it's more transition-less, it's more leapy, but there are these hints, right? I mean, the cafeteria early on is the mead hall, of course, right? And so there are these links. There is connecting tissue. What do you think about that? Multiple places, multiple times.
Yeah, I do love leaping through time. I love poems that do that. I mean, Dickinson's a model for that. Carl Phillips is a model for that. And I think that there's a mode. The poem started out just okay. I mean, I never raise the bar on myself. I just say that I feel drawn towards this subject, this memory. Let me write down how I felt about it, what was going on, and then just don't have any filters. Just kind of word vomit onto the page. Don't even be conscious of your language, And then, of course, when allow yourself to be unconscious, your most conscious self kind of is allowed, is permitted to have fun and to choose the words that maybe it wouldn't, say outside in the world, but would in the therapist's office,
Okay.
And then you look at that and you say, okay, like what choices have I made? What words could I follow? So, I mean, the beginning is all past tense. And then after Boudica, we get some present tense verbs. Some pain is not negligible. And then Cassius Dio gives her longer. The historical present tense comes up. And then we start getting some gerunds, right? Like scrubbing, fucking, those kinds of things start happening. And that allows time to expand because the gerund says the verb is never finished. It's never completed. She can live forever in the ing world. Yeah, so all of that kind of time, but we have a frame, and then in the frame, something can be continuously occurring. And then how does it end? Yeah, I'm coming to punish my Romans. Yeah, so the infinitive, right? Yeah. So it ends in that kind of time frame. Like you don't know what's coming. Not today, not tomorrow, but I'm going to get you,
One way or another, as
One way
as
or
they say.
another. Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, a little
All
Joan
right.
Jett.
Yeah, we've got our audio for the real. Okay.
Yay.
How would you say your personal past and like the larger past of the sort of political socio world, how do those intersect in your writing? Like what's over your shoulder?
I'm always thinking about like how did I happen? What were the mechanisms in history? Who are the people who made my life possible, especially as a queer person? Like what had to happen in order, designing women had to happen, My brother once, I have a younger brother who's gay, and someone said like, "How did this happen?" And he's so funny. He said, "Well, first the earth cooled, then Mario Lopez was born." And I think about this all the time, like in that in the curation of that history, a very queer history, right? Like, who cares about the dinosaurs? Who cares about the Mario Lopez? We got to get to Mario, like,
You are the perfect person to ask these time questions of. I'm so excited. And then your brother needs to come on the podcast. So.
He really does. He was an English minor
Okay.
who loves the Brontes.
Oh,
So he
okay.
really does. Yeah. And Christina Rossetti's Goblin Market. Anyway, which made me love those things. Yeah, anyway, so I don't know where I was, but
Yeah, the earth was cooling and
the earth
yeah.
cooled, and then Mario Lopez was the gift that was delivered. God gave his one begotten son, right? Yeah, so like I think about like what portals had to be opened. There's the self behind the self, right? That is history, then the self that's medicine, art, politics. All those things had to happen in that time for me to be possible to speak now the way I speak. But if I was Oscar Wilde, with whom I share a birthday, that wouldn't have been possible. If I had been Paul Monette, with whom I share a birthday,
Whoa.
I know October 16 is good for writers, I guess.
I guess so.
Like who, I remember reading, but after he died, we were alive together. I never knew him. I didn't know his writing. I could have gone and seen him read, maybe. And it fucks me up a little bit that like there are these other times. And so I think about like those kinds of writers and like what they did, which was just tell their truth, but also with an eye towards the history, the politics of their time, what they knew. And I think of them as opening portals for us, Yeah. And especially now, I was just like thinking about the like 90s queer poetry and like how angry it was, especially right after the AIDS pandemic. Yeah. And I was like, wow, those poems made it possible for me to talk the way that I speak, made it possible for me to live the way I live with a partner and pretty openly in a blue state. But anyway, so I think about like that kind of time, which feels like both very distant and very present at the same time.
Right. And I can link also in the show notes to the 90s episode from
that'd be great.
Your podcast, which maybe is a great segue into, I have to ask you about Breaking Form. Yeah. So we were talking just before we started recording. Congratulations that the podcast is almost 5 years old. Yeah. This is a podcast that, as it was already mentioned in your bio, you co-host with Aaron Smith. What's your secret to longevity? What are your main goals when you get on? Do you not even think about it? Is it kind of like breathing now? Because you guys are so natural. You're so just kind of speaking about what's on your mind in the moment. And then because you are poets and steeped in poetry, and it is a poetry podcast, then all of these beautiful gems are revealed. I'm constantly being taught, about people that I don't know yet. So how is it feeling 4.5 years in?
It feels like we just started because we have so much fun with each other. We're good friends and we like making each other laugh. And we've always said really outrageous things to one another. And then
wait, are you sure? Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah. I guess we have the right podcast.
I always say that Breaking Form is like a quickie in a cheap motel with a fabulous library. So that's how I describe it. We're pretty dirty sometimes, but we're just ourselves. And I don't know. We just decided like, because I'm almost 50. Aaron's, I think, 52. And which I don't know that he'd be happy with me saying, but oh well. It's a fact. You can look it up about him, I guess. Yeah, it just feels like we just got started because we still have so much that we want to talk about with each other. And poetry's always our lens. So, we, with other friends too, I have another friend, like, will say something about a terrible thing that happened, and the friend will say, or I will say, now say torture from Sharon Olds's poem Satan Says. And it's just like gallows kind of humor that gets us through, which is what poetry does too. It gets us through,
I
right?
will
Because,
link the Sharon Olds poem in the notes. Don't
oh,
worry.
please do.
Yes,
Oh,
of
yay.
course, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah, I love that poem. And I think also like when I taught a queer lit class once at the college where I teach. It's a pretty conservative college, I guess. Not like terribly so, but the kids are a little buttoned up sometimes. Anyway, when we like kind of got to like queer AIDS literature, they were like, we don't know any of this. We don't know really what AIDS was. And it just was like, oh my God, so much has been erased, And it is being erased,
Yes.
So it was really sobering.
So these kids are 18, 19, 20.
Right.
So even from the early aughts, it was disappearing.
It was disappearing as soon as we thought we'd written it down.
What year did Rent come out?
Gosh, in the
That was the 90s. That was still the 90s.
I think it was 90s, early 90s maybe. And so yeah, they know Rent, but
Okay.
it's I don't know, like what do they know about? They know it's like they know the songs.
I'm thinking, yeah, and I'm thinking too, like even something like that, like AZT time, like that's not a thing. Like they're not gonna. It's gonna be one of those things that was timely, that maybe doesn't translate to the next generation.
Right.
So just to link it up with, yeah, a little bit of the earlier conversation.
And I guess like what, those queer portals that I was talking about, the arches of them are always like they're always built through erasure, right? Like erasure is always going to be happening. It's the force against queerness. In some ways, the erasure makes visible the door, right? Because you're like, something's been erased here. It looks weird. It looks vague and pink.
Oh, like the map of
Yeah.
the possible world, perhaps.
There you go. And
Yeah.
something's been disturbed there, so you have to look harder, right? It's sort of also like what Pittsburgh was like when I got there in the early 2000s. Like still no none of the clubs had markers or signs or even addresses. You just had to know which door to go through. And if you didn't know, you didn't know. And it kept out the people who shouldn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. What are you reading right now?
Oh gosh, in fact, my computer right now is propped up on Larry Levis's Collected that just came out, Swirl and Vortex, because I'm really loving long poems. So a lot of Bridget B. King Kelly, Lucy Brock Broido. Yeah, I just am trying to figure out how poets keep energy up in a longer poem, how that swirl and vortex happens.
Ah, yeah. Brenda Hillman, I asked a little bit about the long poem when she was on, and I know she's somebody that you've interviewed as well on Breaking Form. She was lovely, lovely.
That's right.
Anything else you want to add before we say goodbye?
I can't think of a single thing except just to say how delightful it's been to talk with you.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, the feeling is mutual. I'm so glad that you could make this time. Thanks for being with us today from Melody or Witchcraft. You can find out more about today's guest by going to jamesallenhall.com. Our theme music is by Emma Wallace. For complete show notes and photos, listen through the links at melodyorwitchcraft.com. You can also find us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, and elsewhere. Regardless of where you listen, support us by commenting, liking, reposting, recommending. We would love to hear from you.